평생 산으로 들로 바다로 강으로 뛰어다니면서 다른 동물들은 도대체 무슨 짓 하고 사나 그거를 염탐하고 사는 사람입니다. 점잖게 얘기하면 동물 생태학 또는 동물 행동학, 진화 생물학 이런 걸 하는 사람이고요. 지금은 이화여대 고고학부에서 학생들을 가르치고 있습니다. 좋은 동반자이기도 하고 저한테야 제 인생의 가장 위대한 멘토니까 저야 너무너무 사랑하죠, 선생님. 만나 뵙는다는 생각조차 사실은 해본 적도 없고요. 그냥 한없이 흠모하는 어떤 분이었는데 그런 분이 한국에 오셨다. 그리고 절더러 인터뷰를 해달라. 이거 그야말로 버선발로 이제 뛰어나간 거죠. 95년도 12월호 내셔널 지오그래픽인데요. 제 연구가 내셔널 지오그래픽에 소개된 유일한 케이스인데 어쩌다가 이게 또 구달 선생님 특집 그 회에 나온 거예요. 그래서 사인 받은 다음에 이제 또 이렇게 하여간 그렇게 구달 선생님과의 인연이 시작이 됐습니다. Hi, Jane.
Hello, Jay.
How are you?
I'm okay. Just more exhausted than I've been in my whole life because I've never been so busy. But apart from that, I'm fine.
That's funny. I mean, you're not moving around, but you're busier. Isn't that strange?
Hey. So much busier. I'm doing things like this, what you and I are doing now, and video messages and podcasts and reading books to children, reading In the Shadow of Man with pictures ready for Gombe, 60th anniversary of Gombe. Emails, hundreds every day. So,
Wow.
yeah, very, very, very busy.
This spring must be very strange to you too, right? We all feel very strange. So tell us about your life these days. What do you do?
Usually I start, video messages. Like yesterday, I did one for World Environment Day ahead of time so people can translate and put subtitles. And then I do something like this. And then I have a lot of writing to do, writing op-eds and things like that. And I do take an hour in the middle of the day and I sit in the garden under my favorite tree that I climbed as a child, and then carry on doing these things until about 7:30.
My goodness. I thought, because of coronavirus, you're home, so I thought you were taking rest. That's not true.
It's much less exhausting being on a tour.
Oh, my goodness. Well, you are an ethologist, and you've been studying natural environments for many, many years. What do you make of this virus situation?
Sadly, it's our fault. We brought this upon ourselves. We have disrespected nature. We've disrespected animals. And a pandemic like this has been predicted for so long. And we know these zoonotic diseases, the bacteria and viruses that jump from animals to people. It's happened before, and mostly it's been contained, it's been stopped. it becomes an epidemic but not a pandemic. This one, well, it's changed the world. It's put people's lives at risk fighting to help the patients, doctors, the nurses, the care providers. It's lost people's jobs. People have lost loved ones who got sick and died. And people are confused and frightened very often. Now we're terrified because chimpanzees, well, I would say 99.9% certain can catch this COVID-19 because they're very, as you know, they're very susceptible to respiratory diseases. And so how do we protect them? We have sanctuaries and we can protect those chimps. But Gombe, other wild chimpanzee populations, how do you stop chimps? And if baboons can catch it, they're going out into the villages and coming back in. If they can be infected, they will infect the chimps. People wander in illegally, but they come in for firewood and things, and they could be bringing it in. And as you know, the virus stays around on certain surfaces.
And we're deeply concerned both by the alarming levels of spread and severity.
It's a nightmare. We're going through a nightmare, praying that we can save the Gombe chimps. Because, 60 years of research, and now it's on hold. We do have a couple of staff in gowns and masks and all the rest of it, just going out and from a distance checking on the health if they can.
Well, whenever we have an outbreak of, say, avian virus or pig virus, whatever, we always condemn wild animals. But in reality, we are the one who carry the virus to wild animals. In this case, that's why you're really extremely worried about perhaps, accidentally, if we transfer the virus to chimpanzees, then, that's going to be another huge disaster.
Hospitals are filled to overflowing. Lorry drivers, truck drivers at the borders are tested, and a huge percentage are sent back because they test positive. And so we don't know the facts. We don't know how many people have the disease. We don't know if it's in Kigoma. So it's a dreadful time.
이 상황에서 구단 선생님이 그 걱정을 하실 수밖에 없는 건 침팬지와 우리는 유전자를 98.6%를 공유하거든요. 자연계에서 우리만큼 가까운 사촌을 찾아보기 굉장히 힘듭니다. 그러니까 만약 우리 몸에 있던 바이러스가 옮겨간다 그러면 옮겨가서 가장 큰 피해를 줄 수 있는 동물은 이 세상에서 침팬지잖아요. 그러니까 이 코로나 바이러스라든가 아니면 그 전에 사스나 메르스 같은 이런 것들은 전부 포유동물끼리 공유하는 인수 공통 바이러스거든요. 그러다 보니까 우리한테 옮겨오면 우리를 공략할 가능성이 훨씬 높은 거예요. 그 얘기는 역으로도 성립한다는 얘기죠. 우리 바이러스를 우리가 잘못해서 야생동물에게 옮겨주면 그들에게도 굉장히 쉽게 옮아갈 것이다. The intervals between these kind of epidemics or pandemics are getting shorter and shorter. If we don't do something so drastic, this thing will happen again and again. What do we have to do, in your opinion?
We have to think of a different way of relating to the natural world. We have to begin respecting the natural world. Because, as we destroy habitats, animals get crowded closer and closer together. New diseases can start among the animals as a virus that's lived for maybe forever, in a bat, for example, can jump over into another animal. And that can create a new disease. And then maybe that is the one that jumps into humans. Why does it jump more into humans? A, because animals are pushed in closer contact with people as they lose their habitats. But even more than that, it's the way we disrespect the animals. We hunt them, we kill them, we eat them, we traffic them. We send animals from different countries into horrible conditions in Asian wild meat markets, and they're crowding up animals in these really cruel conditions with the unhygienic conditions. And sometimes the animals are killed on the spot for the buyer. And this, means that both the seller and the buyer can be contaminated with the blood, urine, feces, and so on. And that, again, it's a wonderful environment for a virus to jump over. And if it binds with, you will know what it binds with, but something in the human body, then it might create a new disease, as has happened with COVID-19. But, the same thing happens in the African bushmeat markets. HIV began from contamination with chimpanzees sold for food. MERS began with contamination from domestic Bactrian camels. And we've had epidemics, some of these zoonotic diseases, spilling over in the horrible, cruel conditions of our factory farms around the world, where all these domestic animals are crammed together, treated abominably. So we have to stop disrespecting nature, animals, wild and domestic.
새해 들어 아시아 지역에 또다시 사스 파동이 재현될 조짐을 보이고 있습니다.
野猫也能吃啊？吃肉不吃，不吃可以。
I've been having some interviews in Korea as well on this issue. A little while ago, the interviewer asked me if I could come up with one keyword about this pandemic, what would it be? I had to think for a little while, and then I gave him calculation. And he was a little puzzled. Calculation? So I told him this way, you know, among all the people, you, my major professor, Ed Wilson, Sir David Attenborough, and all these people, for many, many years, we've been saying to the general public that protecting nature is beneficial in the end. We've been saying these things over and over. No one listened. But this time, as you put it, common folks are talking this way. Say, perhaps this is not really a good idea to destroy nature. What if this thing happened again next year? 저희들이 자연을 연구하는 저희들이 경제학자들을 찾아갔었거든요. 한 20몇 년 전에 찾아가서 사람들은 모든 걸 다 돈으로 계산하는데 어떻게 자연의 가치를 돈으로 어떻게 계산할 수 없나요? 그래서 그분들이 환경경제학, 생태경제학이라는 분야를 만들어 주셨어요. 그래서 숲의 가치를, 아마존의 가치를 돈으로 계산하시고 갯벌의 가치를 돈으로 환산해 갖고 꺼내 놓으셨어요. 어마어마한 가치예요. 이게 전혀 안 먹히는 거예요. 그렇게 답답해 했는데 어쩌면 이번 이 큰 재앙이 어쩌면 희망이 될 수도 있지 않을까 하는 그런 바람이 있습니다.
I think masses and masses of people have changed. But once again, it's getting to those people who want short-term profit at the expense of protecting the environment. They estimate by 2050 it'll be 9.7 billion. Already we're using up finite natural resources faster than Mother Nature can replenish them. So what will we do in 2050? And I can't answer that. Can you?
No. And as you put it, if you are looking from a virus point of view, if you want to jump out of the wild animal and you want to land on something, it's got to be human because there are so many of them. As you put it, right now it's nearly 8 billion. We're approaching 8 billion. But for all these years I've known you, to me, you're an ultimate optimist. You always talk about hope. Even
Yes.
in the worst situation, you tell us we have a hope. What kind of hope do we have in this situation, this particular crisis?
Okay, well, the hope I have, one, is it's raised awareness. So more people understanding, that it is our disrespect of nature and animals, that we have brought this upon ourselves. That's one thing. The awareness is growing. I mean, I get so many emails saying we must do things differently. And my hope is that enough people gradually, this groundswell of people wanting to change will be so great that business and government will just have to start listening.
Now, in this crisis, I kind of learned, or I sort of expect consumers may change. Now we're going to really look at the industries, if that particular industry is contributing to the next pandemic. We're not going to buy their products at all. So perhaps business will have to change from just environment-friendly attitude to eco-centered attitude. For instance, all their activities, they really keep the nature protection right in the middle of their activities. Something like that could happen if we consumers change. Would you agree?
Absolutely. You know, if we don't buy the products of those companies, then they'll have to change. You know, the window is closing. So that's why getting awareness out there. That's why I'm so busy. That's why I was traveling the world 300 days a year, to tell people that if we get together.
Yes. I'm extremely busy these days too. Busier than ever, because I am trying to send out this message to as many people as possible, because I feel, as you put it, this is really a chance. Somehow, virus gave us an excellent chance to talk to people. So we should do that, I guess, right?
Yeah. Somebody said to me as a joke the other day, you know, I've worked out about this pandemic and this COVID-19. This is God. God has created this virus to make us change our ways. God created the world and we're destroying it, and God wants to stop us destroying his handiwork.
Well, speaking of God, last year, I remember sometime around November, I think, Pope Francis talked about ecological sin. He wanted to put ecological sin to Catholic catechism. I thought it was just wonderful. His declaration and new message, to me, are exactly the same.
It doesn't really matter whether you come from a religious point of view, a scientific point of view, a humanist point of view, as long as we do it.
아주 운 좋게 백신을 개발한다 그래도 그 시간 1년이나 3년 걸리는 동안 몇십만 명이 일단 죽는 거거든요. 이런 일을 계속 반복할 수 있겠는가. 그래서 더 확실한 거는 자연과의 거리두기, 자연을 잘 보호하는 일이 결국 우리를 보호하는 일이다라는 차원에서 생태 백신을 우리가 스스로 접종하자는 거죠. 그동안 우리들 중에 너무 많은 사람들은 자연을 너무 유린하고 살았으니까 이제는 우리 모두가 백신이라는 거는 두세 사람이 맞아서는 절대로 효율이 없는 거거든요. 그 한 집단에 적어도 80%, 90%의 사람이 다 맞아야 효과가 나는 거예요.
I remember in Gombe National Park, you know, where I study, where the chimp study is still going on, there was a terrible mudslide, and it was caused because the villagers outside Gombe had cut down the trees on a very steep slope to grow food because they're, you know, living in poverty. And after this, half the village was destroyed, and I think 11 people lost their lives. And so the villagers were saying, God is punishing us for cutting down the trees. And our people in our program went to them and said, no, it's not God, it's you. And I say, if it doesn't matter whether you think it's human responsibility or the gods being angry, it doesn't matter as long as they stop cutting down the trees. And they cannot stop cutting down the trees unless we help them find ways of feeding their family without destroying the environment. That's how our big JGI project began in Africa.
This pandemic somehow, to many of us, revealed the shortcomings of the capitalism that we know. Many people say we can't really go on like this, doing the same business as usual. What do you think, if you have any opinion, what should be the changes we should make in the capitalism per se?
Well, I think we need a totally new way of thinking about how we live. And at the moment, certainly in the Western world and the affluent societies around the world, their God has become money. And the sign of success is to acquire money and goods. And as long as people are feeling that the ultimate success of an individual is how much money he can acquire, how much stuff he can accumulate around him, then it's very hard. I mean, I think we understand what we should do. We do need a new way of looking at things, how everybody should have a good life and have enough, and that we need some money to live. But it goes wrong when we live for money.
But whenever you give a lecture, you always talk about every single one of us has a power. We change little things every day, then eventually the world will change. Isn't that what we have to do?
Yes, each one of us does indeed make a difference every day. And that's why, as you know, I'm passionate about our youth program, Roots and Shoots, which began in 1991 and it's now in 65 countries. Find that people who've been in the Roots and Shoots program, where the main message is each one of us makes a difference every day, and we can choose what sort of difference we make, and where each group tackles projects to help people, animals, and environment, because we're all intertwined. And we found that people who've been in that program as children maintain the values they acquired as children even when they're grown up. We've got examples of that. When I go to China, and I was there just before the pandemic, and there were people saying, but of course I care about the environment. I was in Roots and Shoots in primary school. And of course I care about animals. I learned about animals by watching you and the chimpanzees in Roots and Shoots in primary school. So I'm Pat, and I know you care about Roots and Shoots too. We've done great things together in South Korea.
As you know, we have Roots and Shoots in Korea too. They're growing, kind of a little slow, but they're growing anyway. 교육을 우리가 해야 되는 거죠. 보다 많은 분들이 이 세상이 지금 어떻게 돌아가고 있다 하는 것을 충분히 이해하면 사람들은 더 이상 이런 우둔한 짓을 이제 안 할 거라고 저는 생각하는데, 모든 학교에 환경교사 저는 있어야 된다고 생각하고요. 알퐁스 도테의 마지막 수업이라는 소설에서 제목을 이제 패러디해 갔고요. 마지막 수업이라는 시리즈를 지금 만들고 있어요. 그래서 저는 그 아이들과 지금 그냥 놀면서 자연을 이해하고, 그 자연을 이해하는 데서 끝나는 게 아니라 그걸 분석하면서 그게 지적으로 그 아이들에게 어떤 도움이 될지, 또 그들이 앞으로 살아가야 되는 우리 이 세상에 또 어떤 도움이 되는지 뭐 이런 것까지 한번 폭넓게 이렇게 고민해보고 같이 이렇게 할 거거든요. We need to rethink what we do. At least this time, many people have realized, even the rich people, they realize that not just them who are in safe haven, that changes everything. If other people, the poor people, are sick, then they can't do anything about it. So it's not like they're the one who, they can't really worry about themselves. They have to worry about others. So in this sense, I guess people are thinking about the world as a one unity. The people who have nothing, they have to be cured from virus so that the rich people can live in that same world. So perhaps this thing will change to a different direction now.
Well, let's pray it does. And there's something else that is sort of built into what we've been talking about. And that, do you remember the King of Bhutan's happiness index?
Right.
Why should we always be trying to get more and more and more? I mean, I have more than I need. I bet you have more than you need when it actually comes to shove. And people take it for granted. They don't think about it. It's not that people are bad. It's just the way that things have gone. And I think I was lucky, Jay. I grew up in World War II, and we were rationed, and people were dying. Every bite of food was precious. We learned not to take anything for granted. Either the food we were eating, the clothes we were wearing, or friends and relatives who were dying. But children today, they haven't been through that, so they take things for granted because that's all they've ever known. So it's a sad fact. Does it take going through an absolutely terrible situation to give us proper moral values? That's a sad way of looking at it, isn't it?
Well, let's hope something will change. Let me talk about some bright story. Do you remember Jedol, the dolphin we sent back to ocean? When you came to Korea, I believe in 2012, you gave us a tremendous boost to that activity. So we eventually released him and his 4 friends. So now 5 of them are swimming around in Jeju Ocean. They're doing very well. I'm happy to report to you. And among 5, 3 of them are females. All 3 females have babies now.
Oh,
Isn't that
super.
wonderful?
Jean noticed that Jedol looked tired. "What's the matter, Jedol?" Jean asked after the show was over. "I don't want to do shows anymore," Jodol replied in a small voice.
like the river Jordan, and I will then say to thee, you are my friend, carry me like you are my brother, love me like a mother, will you be there?
That event was a very meaningful event in Korea. We never had that kind of activity before. So to many people, it gave a very new kind of feeling. We can protect nature. So it was a very interesting moment in Korean history, in my opinion.
We are changing. Our morals are improving when it comes to our relationship with animals. And nature's resilient.
Tell us a little bit about factory farming. And you've been very advocate about this issue.
Yes, well, it was thanks, I think, to the chimpanzees that science began to seriously consider that animals are sentient beings. So the thing is that now from chimpanzees, we can ascribe the same kind of feelings of fear, pain, distress in elephants, in dolphins, in birds, in pigs, in the domestic animals, in other words. And so all of these animals crowded together in these terrible conditions, the wildlife meat markets, but then there's the domestic factory farms. And all these are individual animals with their own pain and suffering. And they're all sentient beings. That's why I'm really a passionate advocate for closing down factory farms.
Isn't that part of the reasons why you change to what's the word, vegetarian eating?
Oh, since the late 60s. I read Peter Singer's book, Animal Liberation. When I left for Gombe, there were no factory farms in the UK. I didn't know they existed. When I read about them, I was so shocked that the next time I saw a piece of meat on my plate, I thought, this symbolizes fear, pain, death. That was the last piece of meat on my plate.
You know, but most people say, I would say most doctors tell us when you get older, you need animal protein or you need meat to get stronger. You must eat meat, but you're not eating meat, but you look fine and you're going strong. What's the secret to your health?
Secret is the doctors are totally wrong. My grandmother didn't eat meat for most of her life. She died at 98. My mother didn't eat meat. She died at 96. Her sister didn't eat meat. She died at 97. Well, I'm a kid compared to that. I'm only 86.
As you know, we have overcome many crises before. And do you think the humanity will somehow survive more or less intact through this crisis we're going through?
Well, we'll certainly, absolutely survive. You know, we've survived World War II. I lived through it. We survived before that World War I, which was worse. South Korea, you survived Japanese colonialism. Then we survived 9/11 when the Twin Towers came down. People all around the world in countries like Syria are getting through terrible wars and they're surviving, although at huge cost. So yeah, we'll get through it, but whether we'll manage to survive the climate crisis unless we really change, that's another matter. It's really up to each one of us to do everything we possibly can as an individual. And of course, some people can do way more than others. But if everybody does their bit, if everybody tries to leave a lighter ecological footprint. Do you remember when I arrived once and you took me to wherever I was staying and I had to put my feet into a gooey mess because you wanted a cast of them?
Yes. 숲속 오솔길을 이렇게 생각하면서 1번 타자를 이제 제가 구달 박사님을 모신 거죠. 뭐 선생님이야 상도 많이 받으시고 온갖 우리 사회가 줄 수 있는 영예를 뭐 다 누리셨잖아요. 근데 당신의 이름으로 길은 처음이다 그러시면서 너무 좋다고 그 풋프린트도 만들어서 거기 입구에다가 해놓고 거의 정확하게 한 1km 정도 됩니다. 숲길로 이렇게.
And by the way, somebody is upset that I haven't introduced him before.
Oh, good.
I
Yeah,
still have to
please.
stay. He's on lockdown with me, and he's my symbol for the indomitable human spirit, and that's a main reason for hope now. It's the determination and energy of young people once they understand the problem and we empower them to take action like roots and shoots. It's the resilience of nature, like the dolphins having babies, like trees coming back to the barren hills around Gombe. It's this incredible intellect that we have that is enabling us to find ways of living in greater harmony with nature, with technology, but also in our own individual lives. And then this indomitable human spirit where people tackle what seems to be impossible and they don't give in. And so up on this little plaque that I have, it says, never, never, never quit. So you and I will not quit our fight to save the planet, will we? And hopefully millions of others are joined in that fight, and together we shall prevail.
Well, could you tell us directly to Korean people, address something, cheerful or whatever word you want to give us?
All right, the Korean people, I would say just remember that you, each one of you, has a role to play in this crazy life that we're involved in. And each one of you actually makes some kind of difference every single day that you live. And you can choose what kind of difference you make. Are you going to, at the end of the day, feel that you've made the world a little bit better? Or perhaps not. So that is the responsibility for each single one of us. So I think I end, since we're all separated and locked down and things like that, the most appropriate way of greeting is how the chimpanzees greet each other when they're separated from one valley to another. And it's that's me, Jane.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I'm so glad to see you in good health.
Yes, well, I'm glad to see you in good health too. And I blow you a distance kiss, Jay.
Okay? Thank you. Love you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. And bye, everybody listening. Climate crisis, unless we really change, that's another matter. Responsibility for each single one of us.
Do I hear bird chirp in your background? No?
I'll send you the little video I did because the bird is so loud I had to stop talking. It was a robin.
Oh my goodness.
But I'll send it to you so you see that little interaction between me and the bird.
Interaction or interruption, I guess.